Hello, my name is Taku Chihaya, and I'm the director of SmackDown vs. Raw. Yes, the locker room did change a lot this year. I'm sure a number of your fans really liked the fact that you could customize the locker room in previous games, but we've taken that feature out this year, so I'm sorry to those fans who really liked that feature. But in place of that, in the 24/7 mode, based on how well you do in the mode and how your character develops throughout that mode, your locker room will change based on how you are rising through the ranks in the WWE. And once you get to the highest rank, your locker room will be really cool. It's totally pimped out, and so I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you'll have to just get to the highest rank and see for yourselves. So in terms of the 24/7 mode, and the reason why we decided to get rid of doing a separate season mode and a GM mode was because we saw faults with both of those different modes. First of all, the season mode had a great deal of voiceover in it, and it became difficult to add in gameplay type features into season mode because we ended up just being concerned about the story of season mode, and we would always just be so bogged down with producing the story and figuring out about the story that we felt like we left out a lot of key gameplay elements of it. On the other hand, some of the faults that were in GM mode were that there wasn't any storytelling and there wasn't a lot of acting, and it just became a place where probably our really most extreme hardcore fans went in and just kind of created their own world and tried to succeed as a GM. But it didn't leave anything else for the other users. So it didn't have any of the kind of really cool things that existed in season mode either, like the cutscenes or a lot of the cool things that we did in season mode. So we thought that we could merge the two modes together and come up with something even better than when they were separated. Yes, as I mentioned before, the decision to bring the two modes together was made thinking that we were going to bring a lot of fun, new, cool things that we couldn't do when they were separated and bring them together. But just as you said, by bringing these two modes together, we totally increased the overall complexity in terms of development. When we started looking at it, one of the things that we really we probably should have just made all of the event scenes pure cutscenes, just like they are on the WWE programming. But when we started to look at how we want to make all of the cutscenes and the movies go, how can we express what the user is really looking for and make this really fun and make it also like the user is involved or participating in the game? My entire staff, we all got together, we put our heads together, and what we came up with was almost like an image compositing system that is inside of the game this year. So if you've taken a superstar that you created, like in our Create a Superstar mode, you created yourself, you can take that, using this image compositing system that we have inside of the game, your character will actually be comped into whatever background is going on in those cutscenes. So if it's a movie that's playing, and it's supposed to be, if you by default it would be someone else, you can bring your character into that. Or if it's a photograph session or something like that, your character will be comped into that. And so while being a very cool feature, it ended up being very complex because it involved the work of our modeling staff and a large number of our programmers to get this done and into the game. Yes, since we included the ECW brand in the game this year, we did go back and look at old footage as you suggested. At Ukes, inside of Ukes, we have tons of videos and DVDs. We have a room where the entire wall is a bookshelf filled with videos and DVDs of all pro wrestling matches. And this isn't just pro wrestling from the United States or from Japan, but from other countries as well. We have the Korean Pro Wrestling League DVDs and tapes there as well. So we went back, and since we included ECW this year, we thought we really had to look through the ECW footage. So we looked at lots of old ECW matches and footage, and some of the more memorable ones are some of Taz's matches. A lot of RVD ones were really cool, and we love Tajiri, and so we were able to see a bunch of his matches too. But when we were looking through all of this footage, the point that we came upon was that not only were the matches themselves and the actions the moves that the superstars in the ECW League performed very cool and exciting, but something that really came through on the tapes was the power of the ECW audience and the fans of the ECW brand. They actually seem to be creating the excitement or that passion that goes into the matches just as much, if not more, than the superstars themselves. So the way that they root for their superstars that they are fans of was really, really cool and grabbed us, and we tried very hard to bring that feeling into the crowd for the ECW matches in our game as well. First of all, I'm really glad that you like the way we use the weapons in the ECW Extreme Rules match this year. Thank you. But second, yes, as you mentioned, we have tons of weapons included in the game this year. But what we did is we looked at all of the weapons that are available for the ECW superstars to use on the WWE programming, and then we looked through that to figure out which ones are cool, which ones our fans would like. But more so than that, we looked at how we're going to use them in the game and tried to pick out the ones that would be the most beneficial to gameplay. Like a WWE fan looks at a guitar or looks at a beer cup and immediately knows how they could use that as a weapon in an ECW Extreme Rules match. And so what we did is we tried to pick weapons that would add to the excitement of our gameplay. Yes, similar to a baseball game or a boxing game, we are working really hard to translate what the fans see on TV into the game. However, different than what you see on TV specific to a wrestling game, the matches on TV in wrestling are predetermined who's going to win. But in a video game, we don't know who's going to win when you start out playing. To give you a little bit more specific information about the reason why this is really challenging to bring that into a game is because both of the players, when playing a game, try to win, and they try no matter what to win the match. To give a specific example is in a cage match. The two ways to win a cage match are either one, to climb on top of the outside of the cage, or to walk out the door of the cage. If the cage match was an Olympic sport, probably every player would just walk out the door. I sit around at my desk watching wrestling DVDs and videos all day long with my feet up. And every time I see something that I think looks cool, I pause it and I call over one of the guys who's on my team and I said, put that in the game for next year. It's a really, really hard, challenging job. This is not a match type that I'd like to add, but a feature maybe. I'd like to see if we could figure out a way to do SmackDown versus Raw versus TNA. Yeah, the guy who makes the AI, he has studied the precise timing that's the best to do a reversal, or pretty much the patterns and the timing to perform or execute every single move in the game in order to get the desired result. And so he's the best player in the office, but it's really not fun to play against him. This is not just me personally, but it's pretty much the entire studio of Yuke's here is Eddie Guerrero. He came and visited us here at the studio, and from the moment he stepped into the building, the entire staff just started screaming, all of the female employees started crying, like everyone just couldn't believe that this was actually happening, that he traveled all this way, all the way to Japan, took the time to come and visit our studio, and you know, he really gave us, he talked to us, he gave us a great compliment, and you know, we felt it was really genuine that he saw the hard work that we put into making the game, and he took a long time with the studio tour. He sat down with the modeler who was creating his model, and when that modeler was showing him how to move the mouth open and close on the model, Eddie was just like, oh my god, that's amazing, that's so great. And so then the modeler sitting there was like, oh my god, this is so wonderful, I'm so happy I worked on this project. And it was just the entire atmosphere of his visit really made it worth doing this job for my staff. And so I would say he's probably our company's favorite. I am speaking on behalf of the animators who create the entrance videos in the game. Please don't skip the entrance videos. You have no idea the blood, sweat, and tears that go into creating the entrance videos year after year for the game. And I believe all of you just watch it one time the first time, and then after that you just skip right through it and get into the game. But it really is a lot of hard work that goes into making it exactly like it is on the programming. And the WWE fans will know immediately whether it's correct or not correct. So please take the time to look at the entrance videos and don't skip through them all the time.
The ECW